Sehr gut. Sehr gut.
I'm a time traveler from the year 2025, and I've come here to kill you, Hitler.
Oh, not again. I'm never gonna have enough time to finish these paintings with all of these time travelers trying to kill me.
Well, I'm going to succeed.
Before you pull the trigger, can I just ask why? Why do all of you people want to kill me?
Isn't it obvious? I'm a progressive, a liberal, a fighter for social justice. And you are a fascist who implemented a reign of terror. And while the effects of your policies devastated the world for decades, soon we will be able to take back the White House, and we will be able to use the government to force people to follow our great ideas.
You want to use government power to force your ideas on the populace. Me too! That's fantastic!
What? No. Ugh. You and I have nothing in common. What I'm saying is there are people in our time with dangerous ideas, and we need to silence them.
Silencing those who disagree with you. I do that too! Oh, wunderbar! Oh, the Nazi movement will not die with me.
Don't give me that! I'm enlightened, and you're as bad as... well, as Hitler. Listen, what I'm trying to say is we are very close to implementing a utopia, as long as we can get rid of some certain undesirable people groups.
Yes, like the Jews.
Yes, like the Jews. Oh.
So, in the future,
Oh.
you also do not like the Jews?
Well, no. But we don't believe in segregating all the races like you do. I mean, except for, like, graduation ceremonies. In dorms. And hiring practices. Oh, and admissions policies. That sort of thing.
I, too, am a fan of the segregation. I'm sorry, I have to ask, is this a real firearm, or is this some kind of toy for kids?
It's a flare gun. I'm trying not to support America's toxic gun culture. I'm a firm believer in gun control.
Gun control! This was one of my ideas, too. Ban them from the undesirables. Yes, look here. Oh, and your shirt. This is an organization founded by Margaret Sanger. Yes?
Wait, you know about Margaret Sanger?
Jawohl, of course. Oh, she's such a lovely person.
No. She's a fighter for reproductive rights, for women's empowerment,
And the eradication of undesirable populations by means of eugenics. Brilliant lady, very inspiring. I must use some of her ideas in our socialized healthcare system.
Socialized healthcare? That's not your thing. That's our thing.
No, it's very much my thing. Did you know that Nazi means National Socialist German Workers' Party? Nazi is just more catchy. Nazi. Just rolls off the tongue.
No. This can't be true. This has to be some sort of mistake. We are nothing alike. You're Adolf Hitler, evil right-wing fascist dictator, and I'm a feminist restorative justice advocate. And a vegetarian.
You're a vegetarian? Me too!
Okay, I am so confused right now. I came here with a clear goal in mind to kill the most evil man who I've ever lived. Besides Ronald Reagan. But now that I'm meeting you in person, you're not at all what I thought you were. And your painting is actually really good. What do you call it?
I call it Ein Reich ohne Juden.
Wow. I don't know what that means, but it sounds beautiful.
It does, doesn't it?
Hey, folks, welcome to the program. Do me a favor. Will you please lift your finger and share this program? Just one little tickle, maybe two little tickles. Lift a finger, share the program. Today, we're going to be catching up on the news that's going around, news that affects every one of us. But it's kind of the same old news over and over and over again, just with a different twist. it surprises me how many people don't pay attention. So we're going to talk about some things that have hit the headlines recently that I think you need to kind of keep your eye on, because remember, I've always told you in my effort to make you the smartest patriot in the room, the left always, the bad guys always, the deep state always let you know what they're doing in advance. Today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Goldco. This is something you should be doing in advance. You should be requesting your free gold and silver kit today. It's a pretty simple proposition, folks. Put in your name and your email, get the free gold and silver kit. At least find out why you need to consider protecting your money with gold and silver. And I know you're thinking, well, I don't have a lot of money, et cetera, et cetera. You know who I think forgets about this a lot is people that have 401ks, IRA, retirement savings account, et cetera. I gave you a story a few weeks ago about a fellow who, sheriff, I think it was, found out he couldn't even get into his 401k or IRA. He wanted to pull out some money for his daughter to go to school. Found out he couldn't get it unless he quit or retired. Folks, it's going to the roof. Silver is at all-time high. Gold is 2+ times higher than people thought it was. And I know you're thinking, well, gold was really low, now it's real high. That's not the point. The point is something's happening, and you're seeing it in the indication of gold prices. I think it's because this digital stuff is coming. There's going to be a great big adjustment. They're going to have incredible control over all of us. I don't see how it's a good thing. I really don't. Please go to JovanLovesGold.com. It's why I've partnered with Goldco. These people know what they're doing. They'll help you through it. They'll help you understand. They'll educate you. And it is all about education. And by the way, you might get up to $10,000 in free silver for just setting up your account, for having the right account, right? Now, I know this is stressful too, so I've got something to deal with your stress. Write this URL down, cbdistillery.com. The reason you're going to want to go to cbdistillery.com is because when you use the promo code Jovan, your whole order is 25% off. You know those nights you don't sleep? Next day, you're dragging, your ass is kicked, you're exhausted, everything feels harder to do. That's where CBD from CB Distillery can make a real difference. It's not just sleep. CBD has solutions because CBD Distillery makes it. The CBD is the solution, folks, that actually helps your body to sleep, to rest, to deal with stress, to feel better, your mood to be better. Don't you want your mood to be better? Right? At CB Distillery, it's all made with high quality, clean ingredients, no fillers, just premium CBD. So imagine waking up rested or enjoying your day without those nagging aches or pains. That's the real win of CB Distillery Solutions. That's why over 2 million people trust CB Distillery. I use the roll-on pain reliever religiously. I cannot tell you, there are no words in my profuse vocabulary that I can tell you. Maybe you've gone to sleep one night, your body hurts, you think you're getting the flu or something. You maybe hop up, take some Tylenol so you can add to your ADHD. You know what I mean? Anyway, and you're just waiting for it to kick in. You keep on tossing, turning. I'm telling you, I can wake up with incredible pain in my shoulders, my elbows, places where I've broken my body over the years. It's always kind of the same. I'm having a dream. I'm back in the dream to a fight or flight scenario, either, saving my life or somebody's life or my family's life or fighting for the lives of my kids. And the pain wakes me up. I keep the CBD right there at my nightstand table, there's only two things there. My 45, right? The drawer, here's my government issue 45, and here's my CBD. I grab that, open it, roll it on. I'm telling you, no exaggeration. It's like in seconds, I'm back asleep, no pain. Never bothers me again all night long. That's how magical this stuff is. That's my personal testimony. I wish I would have got it for my father earlier in his fight with pain. So here's the deal. If you're ready for better sleep, less stress, feeling good in your own skin again, try CBD from CB Distillery. And right now you can save 25% off your entire purchase. Visit CB Distillery. Use promo code Jovan. That's cbdistillery.com. Promo code Jovan. cbdistillery.com. Right? Etc. It's only for a limited time, folks. And when we do this, it goes so fast, right? It goes so fast out of inventory. We've been doing this for a long time. I truly wish I would have not, and I'm just being honest with you guys, you know, we're family and friends here. I was a dumbass chicken shit. My poor dad, who died 2 Thanksgivings ago, roughly, whatever it was. It's been that long. Wow. Anyway, with his war rooms from his particular being shot and hit and knees and stuff, had many knee surgeries. Many knee surgeries. His last his last knee replacement, total knee replacement, you know, where the lower part of the leg, they cut out the kneecap, and above they cut out the kneecap, and they put the whole articulating one in that they drill into the bone. He always suffered pain my entire life from his war wounds. Now, when my dad passed, he'd had a stroke, which I believe was brought on by the clot shot. They told us he had maybe 3% chance of surviving if they did emergency surgery. My sister and I decided to go through emergency surgery and give him that shot. He survived, tough old bird, came through flying colors. Only very little notice in his life after that. But it affected him. Push come to shove, as he's getting on the last legs of it and he's having problems, the doctors told him, Bobby, you know, you need a liver transplant. My dad didn't drink. I'm thinking, liver transplant? What the fudge, right? My dad was 90, decided, I don't want a liver transplant. My dad just decided, I'm ready to go. Right? Made a conscious decision. I'm ready to go. Well, come to find out, after all my father had been through and the stroke out with the shot, what got him was a lifetime of eating acetaminophen and ibuprofen. That's actually what got him. Killed his liver, kidneys, and everything. So he says, I'm not going through a transplant or whatever. And of course, he died. It was not good, right? He knew it was going, your body kind of chokes down. It's kind of like strangling you from the inside, somebody reaching in, grabbing your organs and choking you from the inside. It was not a good sight. But when I think about this CBD, and if I'd have just known, now you gotta understand, everybody in my family lives to their hundreds, right? It was only even my dad's generation, a lot of them got cancer. I think that was probably, you know, the farming fields and chemicals that got them predominantly, right? But everybody, grandparents, great-grandparents, you know, great uncles and aunts, just all of them. I think about, and my dad was sharp as a sax, still had all his faculties the whole bit, but I think about what I lost because I knew CBD was out there. Now, granted, I couldn't have replaced an entire lifetime of inhaling acetaminophen and ibuprofens and all that stuff. Hell, none of us even really knew until recent years. But I just think if I wouldn't have hesitated, maybe his life would have been a little better. He certainly would have been without pain. But it's just ironic to think about, and my dad was a little dude. When I say little dude, I'm talking 5'7", right? Little dude for a guy, tough as nails, right? But to think that's what got him is just sickening. That's what got him. That was sickening. And so even to decide to do the CBD stuff, when I decided to do it, because I didn't want anything to kind of do with that industry, just being honest with you, I had to make sure they were the best possible it was. And now I know firsthand, man, I shouldn't have hesitated just because of my own lack of education. So I'm just telling you, I mean, that's just the true story of me and CBD. I was an idiot. I could have helped my father not suffer as much as he did. And certainly I wouldn't have suffered. But I'm telling you, I was a prejudiced dumbass because it comes from, we'll just call it marriage hoochie. And I made the wrong choice. And it was because of my upbringing or whatever. I've never done drugs. I've never even tried cocaine or anything like that. But I'm telling you, I was myopic about the derivative. And therefore, I think the medical propaganda worked on me. CBD, I'm telling you, don't be like I was. You got a money back guarantee. But I'm telling you that for your own thing. There are people in chat said they took 24 Advils a day before they could get weed to help with their pain. Of course, this is not smoking weed or anything like that. Don't be like I was. I was dead wrong. I consider myself a smart fellow. I consider myself an educated fellow. I was wrong. And I should have tried it. And I didn't. And I could have saved my father some incredible pain. And I could have saved myself some incredible pain. So don't make the same mistake I did. Anyway, we're going to cover some of the trending news that's going on right now. These paper-based hacks, right? They're in play again. John Brennan, criminal prosecution, let's hope so. Civil war by April 2026. Thousands of illegals on the voter roll. Sounds reminiscent of what we've been talking about. Well, it may be here, folks. Share this program. Let's get started right after this.
Warning. The following program has been rated Dilligaf and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you. Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, JovanHuttonPulitzer, he's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics, they all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, JovanHuttonPulitzer.
Okay, folks, welcome to the program. We're going to be talking about some trending news going on. It'll probably piss you off, but then again, we're kind of in a perpetual state of pissed off dumb. Is that a word? Pissed off dumb? Not pissed off dumb, pissed often. There you go. We coined a new word. We're in a perpetual state of pissed off dumb. Pissed often. Okay, folks, raise your finger and share the program, by the way. I want to show you something that popped up in chat while we're running the show open there. I try to kind of keep an eye on chat. I can't speak for the validity of this, but people have their own stories about CBD. Tima, right, over on YouTube says, many epileptics will find benefits with CBDs, but many only find temporary help. Once they add the THC into their mix, they are generally put their epilepsy in full remission. I had to reconcile, because all kinds of people are raving on it in chat. I had to reconcile. I guess I'd call it a come to Jesus meeting. For God's sakes, God made it. And with anything, either you can use it right or you could use it wrong. I don't care if you smoke weed. Have at it. I've never really had a big issue with it. I had a girlfriend one time that smoked weed. I got upset with her because she'd have it in the car when it was illegal, and I had to get rid of her because if I ever got pulled over, she was found to have it. The freaking story would be about me, not her. And so I had to draw the line because I'm stupid ass lightning rod for the left and attacks. I don't want to give them any more reason, but don't care. For me, not for me, only because I think kind of the mellow out is great. Of course, there's many times I want to mellow out, but the lack sometime of motivation that comes with it, I'm not willing to cut that part of me off. A lot of people say in chat, they're herbally motivated right now. Shannon says she's being herbally motivated right now to take off her clothes and send me a photo. Yeah, that's a side effect. Anyway, people have their own stories. I just wanted to state with that, I'm just truly being truth. I was stupid. And I consider myself a smart man. Hell, I got all kinds of medical patents and stuff too. I was stupid when it came to, right? When it came to CBD in life. Now, here's what's going on in the news, folks, that we're going to talk about. The paper-based ballot hacks are here again. God, what is it? We broke this story how many years ago and showed how Gruesome Newsom used a paper ballot hack. I'm going to show it to you again. Here we are, back going in. I'm going to show it to you again in this story because it's recycled back. Now, I want you to apply a little logic. I just want you to use a little bit of logic. Here is the standard. Creaky Crawdad says, been smoking for 40 years. Wake and bake, baby. I tried weed one time, I think, right? I couldn't manage the wake part of it. I could bake and sleep. I could bake and lay on the couch. Well, I just couldn't get the wake and bake, the wake part of it, and to be awake. Anyway, so I'm going to show you this because we broke this a long time ago, but I want to give you a standard by which to measure this news story. Now, let me ask you a simple question. Put it in chat, right? Put it in chat. If, in fact, the way they stole elections was the machines, that's the standard. If, in fact, the way you steal an election is the machines, why would they need to do paper hacks? Or why would they need to add BS people to the voter rolls? Just a little bit of common sense. If it really was the machines, all this time, think of the hundreds of millions of dollars the system spent telling all of us it's the machines, it's the machines, it's the machines, which was a psychological operation. If it really was down to the machines, why do they keep on hacking the paper? I'm going to show you a few. We broke this story a long time ago, one of the first times it was used. Hadn't been used in history. They just found new ways to do it. That technically is not a crime for what they do. Here you go. What do you notice about this return envelope? There's one there. Here's one here. Here's one here. What do you notice about these return envelopes? Put it in chat. I want to see if you see it, right? If you see it, it has nothing to do with no signature. I'm showing you the hack. What do you notice, right, about these ballots? The question is, why the hole? Now, don't get me wrong. I fully support the hole, plural. But I don't support this kind of hole. See where it says sign here in this red box? You see how through these little peepholes, it kind of, you can see what's going on. I'll answer Henry's question. Henry said, why the hole? Let me just name them off for you, Henry. I suspect you know, but let me remind you. It's fun. It's addictive. It puts a smile on my face. Oh, man, does it make me feel good. I sleep well afterwards. It works great in the morning. It works great in the afternoon. Works great in the evening, in the woods, anywhere. So I can tell you, there's a lot of reasons why the hole. I just want to make sure I answer your question. What do you mean that wasn't what you were asking? Oh, you were asking about the ballot. Yeah, why a hole? Why a hole? Now, let me ask you a question. Secretary of State says in California, I'll show you the California one. Here's California. It's for the visually impaired. And I do want to let you know what you are looking at is a hole with benefits. I'm going to explain the benefits in a moment. You're dead on. They say that this is for the visually impaired. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say you're squinting at your device and you have to really look at it. And you can't really see the red arrow that there should be a signature there. Or you can't really see the red box where you're supposed to sign. Okay? So are they putting the holes on the envelope for the visually impaired so they can fill the hole to know if there's a signature there? Let me ask you a question. If this was for the visually impaired and you feel the holes, okay, great. You felt the hole. Now, and by the way, I recommend filling the hole. If you haven't today, get after it. It'll make your day better. But if you fill the hole, how would they see the signature? Just question. How would they see the signature on this one out of Fairfax County, Virginia? See the hole. What, that it was mailed? Well, probably good indication it was mailed is you have the damn ballot in your hand, right? You don't need to finger the hole. So what is this? Well, what it is a direct mail piece from idiot spammers letting you know they're putting MNRA in your food. No, it's not anything stupid like that. There's a hack here. Now, what you're looking at is what I introduced, okay? that I started teaching years ago to show you how it's done. This is what's called a low-level hack. A low-level paper hack. And remember, I started teaching long ago. There's a couple 100+ ways to low-level hack an election. In looking at California, is it about you got to remember to sign? You got to remember to sign the envelope. Oh, yeah. Oh, I felt the hole, and the hole, if I feel a hole in the paper, oh, I forgot to sign it. No, here's why. This is California Prop 50. It's on the ballot. And here's what it is. It basically says it would allow California to suspend the use of congressional drawn maps by the California Citizens Redistricting Commission. Now, what happens is they want to adopt new redistricting maps. And it would be in place for 2026 through 2028 through 2030. That's how far it leaps to get to 2030. Then after 2030, it goes back to the old way. First, let's just look at the liberal lunacy in this, right? You basically pass propositions and do things because something's broken, right? Flint, Michigan. We want to replace the lead pipes. We need everybody to vote on it because the lead's killing people. Just a stupid example. So you vote for something. In this case, here's what they're saying. You're going to vote to temporarily suspend what we think is wrong and bad, which are the congressional district maps drawn by the California Citizens Redistricting Commission. And you're going to let us, right? In this case, it would go back to the Democrats. You're going to let us do it, but we only need it for 2026, the 2028 election, and the 2030 election, and then we'll let it go back. This is where I always tell you. This is what I always tell you. The bad guys, the left, the deep state, they always tell you in advance what they're going to do. They always tell you in advance. Here's what they're saying. For us to get to the 2030 crap where there are no more elections anymore, we got to make this change. It's got to go for this election, all the 2026 elections, through 2028, through 2030, and then we'll just go back to the regular crap after that because it won't matter. It basically means that these can get withdrawn to specifically undermine the Citizen Commission that tries to keep it fair and even and right. And it gives almost exclusive party control to the state legislature, which is currently all Democrats, right? Which means they will permanently control it. Permanently control it. But they say, well, we're not going to lose it in the long run. We're just going to pause it through 2030. Now, these envelopes I showed you, what it reveals is the no vote. That's how these things look when you pop them in. Everybody's looking at this, comparing to where it is on their envelope, and it reveals the no vote. Okay, let's look at this from a prosecutable criminal evidence trial. Yeah, you're right. This is third world shit. Now, let me ask you just a stupid question. If the machines and PCAPs did it, why do they do this stuff? Just give me one logical reason. One logical reason. If the machines do this stuff, if the machines control our life, right? Why do it? Oh, by the way, Helen, you know what? You just reminded me something, sweetheart. This probably violates our U.S. Secret Vote Act. Because let me tell you why. When you have the envelope information, you know who the voter is, you can ID the voter, and at least on one vote, you can see how they exactly voted. California, take what I just said. Take what I just said. It was thanks to Helen here, who's paying attention. I didn't get it. She got it. I want you to pay attention. In the United States of America, we're supposed to be voting by secret ballot. Now, we know where this goes in the envelope. When you have the envelope, you know everything about the voter, especially when you have the signature stuff. Here's what it is. Helen, you just stumbled onto a gold mine. Because you can see that vote, and because you know exactly who the voter is, you just totally violated state and federal ballot secrecy laws. Folks in California, hop on this fast, because that's what it is. Because it literally violates our sacred right to secret vote in the United States of America. If you're listening in California, folks, spread this across California. That's a big deal. Helen, you're on fire. Love you, baby. I'm going to have to give you the tongue for that one. You just decide where you want it. Anyway, that's the bomb. That's using your head. Folks, you just watched it organically. It's what I've always said. And I'm telling you, that's freaking brilliant. That's brilliant. Using existing law, you violate the secret vote because on that envelope is the voter information. You cannot get around that. And it reveals a vote. It doesn't even matter what the vote is. That is a violation of federal and state law on a very simple premise. You don't even have to say if it's a yes note or a no vote or whatever. It reveals it. Bang. Somebody said they already sent notices on it. But now let's run this out. Okay, if it's revealing the no vote, while it's in the envelope, what does it allow you to do? If it reveals the no vote, the person in California that would be basically telling these bullshitterists, screw it. We're not letting you redraw this so you stay permanently communist. What does it allow somebody to do? It allows somebody at multiple levels to chunk the ballot, to drop the ballot, to sort the ballot, to identify the ballot, and to discard the ballot. See, if it's in the no, of course, California wants us to pass, meaning the powers that be. Then basically they have a way to pre-sort every ballot that comes in. They have a way to pre-sort it and set the ones where they can see the no through it aside. Now, would that take the election officials to do? You're right. Helen's a rock star. That was a brilliant piece there, Helen. Rock star. That's what happens when you understand how all these happens and you understand what laws apply and what are enforceable. There you go. Now think about this. Does it take the election officials to be the bad guys? It only takes 1, 2, 3, 4 people at the post office, somebody delivering mail in heavy Republican areas, to peel off the votes. What it allows them to do is separate them, where we'll see the little dots over here. Let's just set them aside. They're kind of getting a pre-count without getting a count. Think about that. Aren't they getting a count specifically on Proposition 50? There you go. They are getting a pre-count. It allows them to know the outcome of the election before ever opening the envelope. And you bet bad guys are paying for this due diligence in advance. And then they just conveniently stop counting. Or they conveniently have extra envelopes in because they have a padded photo roll. Do you understand? There are so many nefarious uses for this, even down just to its minimus. It allows them to pre-count, to know where it's trending in advance, literally by postal box or by drop box. It gives the opposition, in this case, all of the due diligence, it's called G2, all of the information they need to insert what they need. And they don't need the dumbass machines to do it, folks. Now, by the way, is that hole in the envelope a crime? No. Opening the envelope is a crime. If you're not an election official counting it. Throwing away the ballot is a crime. But how many of you go check to see if your vote, if you mailed it in, actually counted? People don't do that. Oh, by the way, and they do it way after the election, and so it doesn't matter because they've already certified the vote. Do you get it? This is how it's really done. It's right here in your face, folks. They don't care about who got elected. That's already done. They care about being able to redraw this and control everything through 2030, and then they'll flip it back. It won't even matter. They even tell you. You should see it, folks. They're saying, we don't give a shit. In 2030, it's over. We just got to control it till 2030. And there it is in your face. But do you think this is the only place happening? You might have noticed on this one, it is Virginia. You also probably noticed in Virginia that the person running for governor won't crap on the person running for AG, the bad guys. The AG guy says you can kill candidates, you should kill their families. He's the one that tweeted. You saw that. You could kill their families, they're bad guys. That's the AG. By the way, this hole on the front, wait, I thought it was on the back. No, they use it as they need it. It's just randomly done as they need it, folks. This is the one where that Jay Jones, you've seen it, running for AG, was basically saying guys you don't like or running should have bullets put in them, should be killed, their families and everything. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing. He said, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes. That is somebody who wants to run for AG, folks. His polling has dropped since that's gone, but look at this envelope. Yeah. Again, this is a violation of secret balloting. And do you think it's any coincidence that the bad guy they want to get in is AG? It's that vote. Do you believe it's any coincidence that it's that vote? And this is how they want to toss the Republican votes. And again, let me tell you the rig, folks. Just hang on a second. You ready? Basically, in Virginia, since 2021, okay? Since 2021, there's a thing called Virginia Code 24.2-704B. They punch a hole in the envelope for visually impaired voters. Okay, get ready. Is it that hole on the envelope that told the voter, hey, this is your envelope? Put it in chat. Did this hole on the envelope, is that what cued in a visually impaired voter that this is a fucking envelope? You're right, it's a crock of moose shit. The hole, does it tell them this is the front side? Well, let me ask you a question. Does any voter of any kind, visually impaired or not, need to know that this is the front side of the envelope? Because it doesn't matter how you stick the damn envelope in. They don't even read the indicia if they're visually impaired. It's free mail. Does it do anything? Do you understand how they do these cheats? And they always do it telling you, we're helping you. It's for visually impaired. See, in Virginia, what I would do is I'd get 100 visually impaired people in the room. I would hand them these envelopes and say, tell me what it tells you. But see, it's all done under kumbaya. Oh, we're gonna disenfranchise people. Fucking A, yeah, you're gonna disenfranchise the people you don't want voting the right way. Because what is this going to tell a visually impaired voter? No, this is for an acutely visually aware person at multiple levels throughout this mail-in and drop ballot, what the really vote's for, and want to make sure they set them aside. They're out there. Here's the boo-boo. Ready? Now listen to this. They can't pull it back. It's already done. They can't pull it back. I can't stress to you, right? I am so fed up with the system. Think of how many people told you the Arizona audit was a grift and I was a grifter and I didn't know my stuff and they didn't know nothing. He's a liar. He's a grifter. I showed you these things. I showed you how they used it for Newsom's recall years ago. Here it's being recycled. The same son of a bitches that told you it's the machines, it's the machines, it's the machines. Don't change the voter rolls. It's sweeping a dirty floor. The same crew over and over and over and over. People bought that shit up. I told you about, we addressed them wrong. We got to send new ones. They can never pull the old ones back. I tried to explain to people, you got to understand what it's done. Why would Maricopa in 2020, with about 2,500,000 voters, for Maricopa need to print 4,089,000 envelopes? I've always shown you the data. It was drowned out by the people. Oh, it's the machines, it's the machines, it's the machines. Audit's a grift. That was all psychological warfare, folks. And by the way, they won. They got you to stand down. They got you to ignore stuff. They got so many people to ignore stuff. But on this particular one, this one here, right in your face, that was an accidentally compromised one. We didn't know the hole was there. That's their answer. They called it a flaw, a boo-boo. Oh, it was a boo-boo. Who taught you about the boo-boo concept? You can never pull it back. And so they've got 84,000 of these compromised ballots out there. 32,000 of them, right? They know have come back are Republican. Damage freaking done. You can't pull it back. It's the machines in Venezuela and China and the PCAP, and we got it all. Fuck you. Here it is in your face. Sorry, I'm pissed. I'm just pissed when I think about this, guys. I think all we've been through. I think about the bullshit that was put out there. I think about how it was really done. And what happens when you try to save your country? You get in, you do what's right. It has nothing to do with who's the party in power. It just has to do with what's right. It's people, paper, and programs. And because somebody gets and quotes Jesus, that should be your dead fucking giveaway. If it begins with a Jesus quote, ends with a Jesus quote, you can bet what they put between the Jesus sandwich is shit to try to make it palatable to you. And I am so tired of that. Yes, you can see it in my cheeks. I'm just pissed. I sit here. I've only been saying this for 5 years. My traffic's still suppressed. And it's a con. We got screwed by a con. Now, those people that did that, one's running for governor of Colorado, supposedly. One's running for this seat. One's running for governor of Minnesota. On top of that, if I was wrong, why'd they try to kill me? This is how simple and elementary it is. And you know what? Where's the fucking 6-degree polynomial shit? So I got another mRNA asshole in the group. Yeah, thanks. I missed it. I was angry. Let me give you an example. Ready? You're here in my program. We're learning about saving our country and what we should know. Somebody randomly comes in and drops a link. Oh, you got to know about mRNA food. You got to get this pepper supply. Now, let me ask you a question. Why would you ever trust? Let's just call it a food company. Why would you ever trust a food company that comes into somebody else's program, drops a link that is misleading to get you off of this stuff for the nation and get you over to their food prepping site? That should tell you about the character of the company. These are the things we ignore. That should tell you about the character of the company. I would no more go into somebody else's broadcast dropping links for my Food Force Bible or any of that stuff to save your ass. But yet they blanket it across social media. I want you to understand that is a lack of integrity. That is lying. That is not caring about saving you and your food. That is lying to the public to get them to look at you. And that's exactly what our politicians do to us. That's exactly what our media does to it. And look at all these bullshit posts that come in. How do you ever trust a company like that? Just a question. When you break it down, when you really break it down, you're here to learn. That's what we do. My job's to make you the smartest patron in the room. And they come in and they drop something like that. They don't care where it goes. They just want to sell a product. Do you trust that company that they're doing right for you? No, because what they'll do is hire foreign country spammers, Chinese spammers, to just spam the shit. They don't care about shit except getting that money from you. How can you trust a company like that? Even if you bought it, how could you trust a company that's willing to go to that extent? Oh, by the way, it's just like a political tactic. Squirrel, look over here. That's also what they're doing. Think about that. That's a company who doesn't give a shit about what it takes to save this country that you need to know to learn, and is just chasing their sales. Think about that. That should tell you about the integrity of the fucking company doing the spamming. I just think it's interesting that these things are out there, right? That they think these things are out there, and they use the same lie, but yet, oh, it was a boober. Well, we're sorry. We'll pay attention next time. This is Fairfax County, Virginia, trying to make sure they get the worst possible AG in they can, who thinks it's okay to say, we just kill off that candidate. It's always in your face. They do it all over the country. And by the way, okay, great, you're covering it. Media's picking it up. 5 freaking years too late. When we shared with you, this is exactly how they kept Newsom in office. But yet I was a grifter. I want to show you something before I show you the next piece. Right? Hold on one second. Let me load it. Let me load it up. I want you in context of me sitting across from President Trump. I was called in, right? Got to go through all the Secret Service background checks and everything else to sit right there with the man. This was not at, some little BS meeting or something, right? This was a personal request. I'm sitting in his office. I go through everything. Here's what we need to do. Here's how they do it. The person by my side, adding extra credibility, well, I'm doing it, right? Devin Nunes is there. Susie Wiles is there. Where I knew something was kind of funky when Susie Wiles said at the end, could you put this down in a paragraph? Could I get this to a paragraph? But I knew something was wrong when she says, well, we're told not to mess with the voter rolls because I'm telling President Trump, we got to get rid of the voter rolls, but at worst case, we got to clean it. He says, Jovan, I can't get rid of it until I get into president. We can work on it when we're talking about cleaning it. I showed him where every bit of this is. His now chief of staff. Now I get in trouble for telling you this. I get a big black mark for being transparent with you. I know no other way, folks. I don't work for the government. I don't work to get clicks. I work to save my country. It's all of our country. And I'm not arrogant enough to say, you're my people and let my people go. I'm not that fucking arrogant, right? So I'm sitting there with the president talking about if we really want to take out how they do it, we've got to take the bullets out of the gun. The election is the gun, but the bullets is the voter rolls. Chirping up over my shoulder is Susie. And she says, well, we're told don't bother with the voter rolls because they'll just put them back on. Now, of course, you know me, I couldn't let that go. I actually turned around, turned my back to the president, said, where in the hell did you get that? I'll show you where they got it.
So you have a centralized statewide voter roll that's on networked machines, servers. It has a public-facing internet interface. That's it. That's all I need to know that it's blown. That's a centralized statewide voter roll that was mandated by Help America Vote Act. They have these all over the country. And it's not just that you have a public-facing internet interface to it, but multiple organizations have what's called an API, or an application programming interface. In other words, a machine-to-machine interface into that voter roll. And I'm telling you this because when people say, well, we have to clean up the voter rolls, it's true that they're not following the law. It's true that they're not in good faith maintaining them in accordance with Title 52 that requires that the voter rolls be both secure and accurate. That's a requirement imposed on the secretaries of state who've received the Help America Voting Act and CARES Act funding to maintain those voting systems. What nobody's going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you, is you cannot clean those rolls. You're sweeping a dirt floor. Those things can be changed in microseconds, and they are changed in microseconds, and we've got proof of that happening in multiple states where voters are shifted between counties, they're made active, they're made inactive, they're deleted off the rolls after voting and then brought back in a month later. These things cannot be maintained.
Now, let me tell you why I played that for you. First off, that's Mike Lindell's guy speaking at a big Turning Point event. And this was put all across the country and it immediately came active after, which is interesting because nobody in elections was really invited to these things. And it pops up literally coinky-dinky when I'm having direct discussions previously with President Trump. Here's how we fix it. And he's telling everybody, get on it, get on it, get on it. Well, the chime behind my back, what Susie said, she repeated basically that statement. So you know where it came from. She literally told me, well, it was Mike Lindell's team that told us this. Then there's a reason I'm giving you this setup, but I want to address something in YouTube first. Mr. E. Shapa, Jovan's theory might be slightly flawed if some of the no votes are not showing due to the orientation of the ballot in the envelope. Okay, pop quiz. Number one, it's not a theory. I'm the only human in American history that has personally, right, inspected over 2 million voted ballots, 189 million voted ovals, and the systems from top to bottom. I kind of know what I'm talking about. So let's just take theory off the table. I'm giving you a fact. Now let me give you the other numbers. They mailed, okay? They mailed 84,000, and they know that 32,000 Republican ones came back. Now, let me ask you a question. Ready? Put on your thinky dinky cap, and let's see if your theory's wrong. You got a 50-50 shot of that no vote being on the front. You got a 50-50 shot. Now, most people, correct me if I'm wrong, you've got your ballot. You've got your envelope. You've got your ballot. You've got your envelope. I want you to rethink about this. Okay? Rethink about this. Just for a moment, use logic. So to have your ballot, you got the lid open to the ballot, the flap, it's open. You're looking at what? The back of the ballot, depending upon what they're trying to do, because that's where they put the hole. Okay? In the AG1, where the fold flips, kicks it to the back of the ballot. Now you're looking at your ballot. Human nature is, you look at you fold your ballot back the exact way it came to you, right? And what are you looking at the ballot? You're holding it looking at the front, not the back. This is psychosomatic. This is the process. You don't just grab it willy-nilly and stick it in. You look one last time at that ballot. They know this. And so you're looking at the front of the ballot and the back of the envelope, the holes on the front of the envelope. So you take that front-facing ballot and you stick it in the slot because you're seeing your ballot go in, you seal it. What's on the back side of that ballot? The hole in the vote. Now, let me ask you a question. Did most of the people follow the standard psychological process by which people handle paper? Yes. Will there be some people that put it in backwards? Yes. Does that mean the theory's blown? Because even if it's 50-50, they got a 16,000 ballots they can remove because they can see the no vote, or they can counterbalance it when these things are won by margins of a few hundred. Is the theory fucked up? I'll let you pull out your phone and do the math. Do the math. 84,000 mail, 32,000 coming back, be Republican, and all they probably need to countermand it is about 300 votes to get it over the hump. You got 32,000 to come back. What percent? Get it? It's a numbers game. But that is kind of an interesting way. Well, somebody could turn it backwards, and that makes the theory not valid. I tell you who's accepting people with that type of mentality that won't look at facts, will find a way out of it. This guy's recruiting for his cause of America.
So you have a centralized statewide voter roll that's on networked machines.
Here, they're looking for active members to work with them. You might find a home there if you have that type of mentality. But these elections are moved by hundreds of votes. That's all you need. So the way I look at it is if they got 32,000 out there, and I err on the lenient side, they're going to see at least 16,000 of them. It's called math. And I don't need a doctorate in it. And there are no 6-degree fucking polynomials in it. It's just human interaction. Now, why did I show you that video? People make excuses for the system. Stop making excuses for the system, because even if they do it one time so they can see the vote, it's a crime and it should not happen. There's no fucking excuse, and there's no reason that helps a visually impaired person. That's the message. But I bet you lawmakers hear somebody say, well, there's not, you can't really do enough of them. Somebody, we don't really know how they put them in. You would make a great politician, because that's exactly how they do it. That's exactly how they do it. And that's what they want people. You can't do enough. Welcome to the world we live in. Now, why did I show you that BS video about don't worry with the voter rolls or whatever? How about this? Texas, you may have done this. You saw Elon amplifying my stuff about we really got to look at the voter rolls, finally catching some traction. Texas did its first cursory run. Remember, President Trump signed an executive order. We need to start seeing, quote unquote, the illegal immigrants list of who they are. They did a very quick and dirty cursory run in Texas of illegals. People, known illegals. My email is just my name, my full name, no spaces, @Gmail. My email is my full name, just like you see it on the screen here, no spaces, @Gmail. Anybody can send me an email or reach me. Somebody asked that in chat. That's why I did that. Anyway, Texas just did a cursory run and found thousands upon thousands of known illegals. Finally, because President Trump signed an executive order, I've just been screaming this forever, signed an executive order, made the two agencies that didn't talk, and they found thousands of bona fide 100% illegals on the voter rolls. That's thank you to Motor Voter. That's thank you to Motor Voter. By the way, it was widespread. Why was it widespread? It was in all 254 counties. Don't clean the voter rolls. It's like scrubbing the dirt floor. But hey, buy a pillow, buy a cross, and keep on hoping for PCAPs. This is how bad this game is. This is how bad this is. This is how, and you think just because somebody tells you they're a patriot It's a cause for America. I'm telling you right now, when they want to stretch the sphincter of 3-year-olds, they released a program called Brightening and Expanding Your Children's Experiential Horizons. It's always sugar-coated. It's still shit. That's how it's done. There are enough illegals on the voter rolls, and I don't know why people don't get this. I was screaming, clean the voter rolls. I was screaming it to the top of my lungs. You can see the numbers for yourself, folks. Barack Obama, who was supposed to be Jesus Christ superstar, messianic messenger of the world, got 69 million votes for his election in 2008. His second election, which was totally bogus, was 65 million. The things they deployed for Biden, they started testing in the Obama era. Sharpiegate, they learned from Obama testing. I showed you that too. Anyway, so Obama got 65,000 votes his second term. Hillary got 65,000 running against Trump. Now, what that tells you is that Hillary was as popular as Obama. I can buy that. That's probably true. And then you look at that big FU finger right there in the middle, which is Joe Biden. 81 million votes. We know it's total bullshit. 81 million votes. Right. It's coming down to holes and rolls. There you go. But then you look at Kamala against Trump. 68 million votes at election night when the election was declared. Now that finger sticks up. It's a huge anomaly. 81 million votes until you pay attention. You're looking at a screenshot of May 21st this year, 6:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And at that time, they showed that they had raised Kamala up to 74,749,891 votes from 68 million. You see how she's kind of nudging Biden there? They basically want you to believe not only was she as popular as Obama, more popular than Hillary, she was even more popular than that. Now, this was updated in May. From May to now, when you're seeing this, months later, they've added another 250,000 votes to her. We're a fucking year past the election. We're a year since the election has been over, basically, and they added another 250,000 votes to her on top of this. It's the machines! They left them running for a whole year! You dumb fucks. Yes, it pisses me off. I'm sorry. If the machines did it, they'd keep on working at it. It's the machines. They left them unattended for a year. And look how many more votes they added. Because that's what it would take, right? That's what it would take if the fucking machines did it. Yes, I'm pissed. I'm pissed for everybody. I'm pissed that everybody bought into these cons. Because that would be the only logical excuse. How did Kamala go from 68 million right now to now well over 75 million? Is it they left the fucking machines running? That's why they hid the PCAPs. That's why they hid them and we can't get them. They didn't want you to see it. I don't need the fucking PCAPs to see it. You can check this yourself. You know what you don't need? You don't fucking need to praise Jesus, even though it would help. You do not need a 6-degree math polynomial. You don't have to be a trend analyst. You don't need any fractal pterodactyls, and you don't need to see PCAPs. How about just go to a fucking website? It's always been the rig. It will always be the rig. And you sit here today, when I sat there with President Trump and I'm telling him, here's where it is. President Trump tells entire staff, get the fuck on it. And what hijacked it was Mike Lindell and teams. And now the states are getting around to do it because the wheels move slowly. And they're finding thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands finally. And I told you how they did it with motor voter. No, let's just get laws for a hand count. How about you fucking don't have motor voter? Let's just do a hand count. How about you fucking check the voter rolls against the illegal rolls? We got them both. Texas say, well, citizens aren't allowed to vote. I mean, non-citizens aren't allowed to vote and register in Texas, right? Now, let me ask you a question. And I want to see if you can put your logic on. I want to see if somebody, right? If you want to discount this, well, it's not technically correct because it's a technicality. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's just like sleep on the dirt floor. So many people can't see the con because the con's really simple. I want to show you something. And I want you to use your new engaged eyes to see, to see if you can understand how this is done. Now, Houston television station pushed back on this when they found out that there's thousands on the voter roll. Here's what Houston, right? Get ready. No, non-citizens in Texas are not allowed to register to vote. A viral social media post falsely claimed that non-citizens were registering to vote in Texas, triggering Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton to reopen it. Okay, let me ask you a question. I want you to get laser focused. Because the rig is so blatant that it's easy to miss. So look at Minnesota. We know Minnesota in that incredible hotbed of everything that's right for America from the Somali viewpoint, just passed a law called driver's license for everybody, IDs for everybody. See, because they know how the rig's done. So let me get this right? You come across the border illegally. You are told immediately, you must get a driver's license or ID. You go down to motor voter or to the DMV. You fill out your information. On that little bitty bullshit form is a little box that says, if you're here illegally, check this box because you can't become a voter. Now, let me ask you a question. Ready? Let me ask you a question. How many fucking illegals are going to go into a state DMV where the fucking state police are and check a box? I'm an illegal. Tell me, how many illegals are going to walk in to an institution of law enforcement in the United States of America and voluntarily check the box, I'm an illegal? I'll wait for your fucking answer. I'll wait for your answer. Because it's going to be none. So, when that box isn't checked, I'm an illegal. They're not going to self-identify. They're fucking illegal. When that box is checked, they make sure that person does not get added to the voter roll. But when the box is not checked, by the way, Be Fair asked, Jovan, can we tell where their 7 million Kamala votes came from, which counties, etc.? I can. If I was given access to the information, I can tell you every fucking one of them. But it's the machines. Give me the fucking paper. I'll tell you everything you want to know. But okay, you're an illegal. You paid coyotes to come under. You're here. You're illegal. You're a criminal. They tell you, you better go get a driver's license. You go get an ID. It's mandatory. Are you going to check the box that says, I'm an illegal? You are not. Not when there's state troopers all around the place. So here's what happens. They automatically send you, put you on the voter rolls. It's called motor voter. They automatically register on the voter rolls. Now, how does the system use it? Well, let me tell you how the system uses it. Because if you sweep that dirt floor, they're fucked. They want you to not sweep the floor. But here's how they use it. See, all of those illegals have handlers in the United States. Those handlers get the illegals to go get an ID, and they use the handler's common address. I have seen single addresses with 30,000 people registered to vote from that address. It's the machines. So let me ask you a question. Number one, they have 30,000 illegals at one address. If you're in a mail-in state, right? If you're in a mail-in state, where does the ballot go? Hey, Vern, you want to come on? I'll send you a link. We'll talk about it live. That'd be great. If you want to come on, give me an answer in chat. If you want to come on, I'll give you a few minutes. I got one or two more stories to cover, right? But so here's what happens. Those ballots are printed. They go to one common address, 30,000 of them. Did you know somebody comes to pick those up? Did you know that? And it's not the election officials? You know who comes to pick it up? It's the machines. They walk over and they collect the mail-in ballots. Now they have a reserve of ballots that is a registered voter. Then they see the information. Then they drop as many as they need of those. It's the machines. I can show this over and 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 over. And look how big the fucking machine con was. See, it's called a fungible asset. They don't record who picks them up. It should be a crime. They don't have crimes on the books for that. They don't have a reporting system for it. They don't run numbers and statistics and analogies and get this. They don't write the laws to fix this loophole, and fucking people like Tina Peters end up in jail because they convince her, it's the machines. Here, we're going to break the laws because we convinced it's the machine. And even though we broke the laws and did all the thing wrong, you're going to prison for it. By the way, they needed a county recorder to go to jail. To make every county recorder in the country stand up and pay attention. You fuck with us, we're going to end your life. The system doesn't care about the consequences, folks. Push us around like pawns. Now, here's what's really going on. Ready? Discussion I'm having with President Trump is we got about 21 million bad voters on the voter rolls. And we got to get rid of them. That's what they used for Biden. Now, the system knew I had this meeting. You can't hide the meeting. When you're meeting with the most important man in the world and he's calling you, and you can't hide that meeting. Right? The system went into panic. So when they knew President Trump was looking at wiping out the voter rolls, we got to clean the voter rolls, they went into hyperdrive. Don't clean the voter rolls, they're sweeping the dirt floor. Oh, I got the PGOTs. I really did. We won. We got rid of the machine. Total con. What happened underneath the radar? underneath the radar, they started scrambling because Biden and Kamala let in over 10 million. And what they did is they cross-validate. So all those fake ones that voted in that 81, basically what they did in raising Kamala, they now show a second or third vote for bad voters they know are bad, but you look at them, they can't be bad because now they have a long voting history. They must be active. Do you understand how this con works? Every move has a counterbalance. Every move. Look at where we sit today, and only now has Texas just been able to run it and find thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. And oh, by the way, we got 14 states that require no ID to vote. The most sacred thing you do in the world, the most important thing you do that affects your life, and you got 14 states that do not require ID because ID is fucking racist. I personally think voting without an ID, allowing illegals on the voter rolls, is fucking racist against us who do it right. But these are the truths that are out there. These are the truths that are out there. And nobody pays attention. And you know what? We potentially, you're watching it happen now. The system's paving a way potentially for a civil war, probably in April of next year. Why? They need unrest because people don't want this stuff. They're backing it up under the system because they're going to steal the midterms. They're going to lame duck President Trump, and they're going to impeach him. And this is all being planned right now in these cities. It's why they're pushing back on the National Guard. It's why people are pushing back on ICE. They always tell you, listen to the Democrats. We got to take care of our military and make sure they have good homes and good jobs. Oh, we got to make sure that no, they don't say that. You can't run off the illegals. That's un-American. Pay attention. Did the Democrats scream when people said ban the machines? Not once. Did the Democrats scream when it says you got to have voter ID or let's get rid of mail-in ballots or drop boxes? They screamed their asses off. You know why they do that? Because they even know it's not the machines. I hate to see how many of my fellow conservatives, just if you were really honest, who bought into that bullshit that put Tina Peters in prison. The Democrats will tell you how it's done. They don't oppose getting rid of the machines. They just do long-term contracts. They don't worry about it. What do they oppose? IDs, getting rid of mail-in ballots, getting rid of drop boxes. The writing's always been there, folks. But when you get smothered with a pillow to believe something else because you get wagged by your emotions, we lose. So many people are talking about April's going to be a flashpoint for us, right? And so the National Guard troops are being warmed up for states and territories. That's 53 all total. I think the system kind of knows it's coming, because the truth is finally soaking out. But I want you to have a very sobering thing. I'm sitting here. You're, 2 weeks away from voting, and I've been telling the system this for 5 years. It's kind of almost 5 years too freaking late. That's why the system deploys so much and people gobble this up. I let people off the hook with me. You don't have to like me. I probably cuss too much for you. Oh, my precious godly ears, I heard a cuss word. I might be too intense for you. I might talk too hard for you, or you might believe the shit that's said about me. I'm the only one that's consistent out of the whole fucking bunch. But that's the job. That's what they do. Because the system knows what's coming. You probably saw this one, right? Brennan. Yeah, you probably saw this one. John Brennan has been referred to the Department of Justice. And Dr. Richter told me, quit your fucking cussing, damn it. Okay, I'll do my best. Brennan's been referred now for prosecution. This is pretty big. And so, of course, he's the, former CIA chief, whatever, right? I hear you. People in Rumble, like Jay Zach saying, I don't have virgin ears. I was going to call that creamy, sebaceous matter running out of your ears. I wasn't going to tell anybody what I thought, but I'm glad you admit you don't have virgin ears. Anyway, if you look at what's going on, Brennan has been referred to criminal investigation. And what it focuses on is false statements to Congress. Now, this leads to what could be considered as misconduct relating to intelligence assessments, and it's all about Russia's interference. Get ready, folks. People that want to subvert countries and take over countries and take over peoples, it's not a very fast thing you do, okay? It is a very slow, methodical process, a lot of it based on fear. Now, we wrote about this in our best-selling book, Countdown to Chaos, Silent Federalizing of Elections. This is not per se about Trump and Biden election. It's everything before it. It's everything before it. We told you the Russia collusion part. Ready? Now I want you to pay attention. Now maybe this time you can connect the dot. Now maybe for the first time it'll connect the dot for you. In our book, we showed every move they made getting up to the 2020 election that allowed them to do one thing: silently federalize the election. Silently federalize the election. We showed you everything, right? We put it all out there. It's not our opinion. There's no CIA assets who are going to give the evidence proof, but when it comes to court, can't testify, or they got to go by an unnamed name. There's no furry people involved, no fucking raccoons, no fucking monkeys, none of that shit. It's the people in the system. We showed you everything they did. Everything they did. Okay? Leading up to 2020. What we told you is they needed a few more things to happen to take over this country. Okay? I'm going to connect a dot for here. I just want you to maybe try to focus on this and understand. They put everything in place before 2020 for this takeover in 2020, including the pandemic and all that shit. It was to be the final nail in our coffin. Okay? But they needed a few extra things to finally get it into play. And what they needed was a plausible, fear-based reason that they could, at the federal level, see every vote. Let me state that again. Now listen. They needed a plausible excuse at the federal level that they could see every vote as it occurred. I didn't say change votes. I said see every vote. Okay? Now, the way they did that has to do with Brennan. This was the final thing they needed to do to reset everything. They came out with Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia did something on the machines to get Trump elected. Russia, Russia, Russia. Now, see, they needed that. They needed that. See, that was the real big lie. Stay with me because I'm about to show you how all this connects. So the system and media, which you know lies and craps in your cranium, went into overdrive telling you it was Russia, 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 Russia. They responded magically by organizations and tactics they had already set up. Oh, we better put in some protective measures. We got to protect you. And so what happened under the Russia, Russia, Russia thing, it was not about Trump. They just used him as a scapegoat. What they did is they fear-mongered every election office across the United States that something was happening on the machines. There's somebody, U.S. truth seeker, saying it actually came out of Italy. Knock that shit off in my program. Knock that shit, Italy shit off in my program. If you've watched me for any amount of time, you should know that's total bullshit. I showed you how. And if you're still gobbling that shit, you're lost. People. Whew. Anyway. And so what they did is they basically scared people into thinking we got to make sure our election's safe because that's how we got Trump in the first place. And what they did is a little bitty trick that basically allowed one thing to happen. All of the election data to be seen by disconnected protection centers. Okay? Protection centers. And it's just like this idiotic statement, well, it actually came out of Italy. Let me tell you why you're full of shit. Because if it came out of Italy, that means the machines did it and you bought it. Anyway, people, shows how short attention span theater. So anyway, under the guise of Russia, Russia, they dropped in a layer that allowed them just to see telemetry. Okay, now what were they looking at? What were they looking at in telemetry? Think about it for a moment. When you're looking at telemetry, what do you need? Okay? The fusion centers, all this other stuff, okay? Sounds great. We're going to protect you. So they dropped that infrastructure on under the guise we got to protect you against Russia, and it was never Russia. Okay? Now here's what happened. So they're sitting on top of all the election data, truly, for the first time in history. They did it sneakily. They did it through law enforcement under the guise, we're going to protect you. Remember, if they want to ass fuck your 3-year-old, they're going to call it expanding the flexibility horizons of young children to have them have wonderful feelings, future in life. It's all bullshit, folks. It's just all bullshit. So what they did is now they can see everything for the first time in history. It's all under the guise, okay, of we're going to protect you. Keep on with me. I'm going to show you this. Just keep with me. So now they're watching. In order to hide it, meaning to get it in and to hide it, they ran this operation through the sheriff's departments and stuff. Now I'm going to bring it home for you. Let's just take Maricopa, right? We got everything. We got the ballots. We got the whole stuff, yada, 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 yada. But what we didn't get What we didn't get was the router and the Splunk logs. They blocked it. The subpoenas was going to have them all going to jail. The Republicans let them off, said they satisfied everything. We never got them. Then they had a special investigative team said, well, they were never there. Total bullshit. Now, if you were paying attention, you would remember there were 30,000 anonymous incursions into the system. Into the system. That means 30,000 different times unknown people came into the voting systems at Maricopa. But all they did, okay, was what's the status? What's the status? What's the status? That's what they were actually doing. Okay? What's the status? They're watching it. Now, some people may tell you that was foreign interference and parties doing it. It's the machines. They were flipping votes. That was a con too. But let me tell you, you already know it wasn't the machines. You already know it. You already have hard proof to know it wasn't the machines. Now, how do you know it? Right? How do you know it? Well, number one, they needed 10 extra days to count all of the votes. Now, let me ask you a question. If you need 10 extra days to count all the votes, it's kind of telling you just right up front, the machines don't do it. Because if the machines did it, it would be there. Right? Simple logic. If the machines change votes, right? And the machines insert the votes or flip the votes, and then the election's over, you don't need any extra time. Why? Because the machine would flip the vote, the machine would change the vote, and it would just be done. Get it? But see, you disconnect in your brain, they said they needed 10 extra days. Okay? Now, let me show you how this works. Pay attention. Here are the numbers in Maricopa. You can see them running in. I don't expect you to get it. I put so much out there. I'm not going to go long. But they were running 10 tally machines, doing about 140,000 ballots a day, right up to the election. The election's the dotted line. Oranges, Trump, blue, Biden. They said they needed 10 extra days to count because they were overloaded. Well, if you look at the 10 extra days, yes, they had one that was about 89,000, but most of them were only a few thousand at a time. 2 of them days they didn't count. Now, on the left-hand side of the screen, they used 10 machines running nonstop. On the right side, when they told you they needed 10 days, because there was so much, they only used 2 machines. So why didn't they use all 10 and get it done in one day? Because they could have done it, because they didn't need the 10 to quote, 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 quote. They needed the 10 extra days to tweak it. And that's why you see way over on the right, a month later, they dropped in ballots out of nowhere of 118,019 physical ballots that came out of nowhere. Now, why did they do that? Because what they actually do watching the data is all they know is who voted for what. And they know 2 things. Who's leading and how much is it? And then they know one net thing. Who didn't vote that we can reach in and now claim they're a voter? It is all about pre-data intelligence. Pre-data intelligence. Hand counting does not fix this. Because you can't tell what a legit ballot is, period. And by the way, in states where it's contested, get ready for this. I'm going to bust your hand counting bubble. You're going to hand count on election day and get a number. Oh, but in most states, if the mail-in ballot's still there and it's post-stamped the day of the election, they got up to 2 weeks to count them. You don't see those ballots. You're already gone from your hand count. And that's just one way a hand count's compromised. It is all about pre-data, all about pre-data, all about pre-data, pre-data, pre-data. This is why that little dot's there. It doesn't change the vote. It doesn't flip the vote. It just tells them what the vote is. So as they watch the numbers in real time, they can stick in or manufacture what they need in paper form. That's it. It's that simple. It's that simple. Now, when you understand that the whole system came out, Russia, 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 we're going to watch the machines, we're going to protect the machines. When the shit happened, they're telling you we're going to protect the machines. When the shit happened, what did the supposed good guys tell you? It was the machines, it was the machines, it was the machines. Here's what the machines did. And this is driven by as the paper goes in. Not as the machine ran, but as the paper went in. And when you look at the paper, you see exactly what happened. That was the whole con behind Russia, Russia, Russia. And now, finally, maybe we'll get to the point that Brennan is going to be in the hot seat. Because what they did is they lied. He testified before Congress in 2017 and then again in 2023 that many things, and one of the things he was saying is that, well, I didn't have anything to do with the Christopher Steele dossier, which is what led it all in. It was the Steele dossier what allowed them to say Russia, Russia, Russia. But he's saying, well, I was very much opposed to having any of that in there, blah, blah, blah. But it was a lie because it was all there. And that dossier, right, was created, period. It was a con. And it was created by both sides. And so what Brennan did is he intentionally misled Congress in his role of the Steele dossier and the CIA involvements specifically, basically saying he really had nothing to do with it. He wasn't really part of it. It was, didn't meet our standards or whatever, but it was done. It was pushed through. It was the whole scope of the investigation. It's the lie that basically said, okay, we're going to put everything in to monitor. And then all of a sudden, for the first time in history, wake up, folks, for the first time in history, nobody can count anymore and they all need extra days. Why? Because that lie allowed them to see where the data was, to know how much data they need, and under the cover of we can't count it all, to do a little bit of bullshittery of manufacturing papers to get it over the hump, which they do by having illegals and bad voters on the voter rolls and knowing the net information, who came in and voted, who did not. Why do they work on who not? Because you're not going to come looking for your vote, are you? That's the con, folks. It's that simple. All this machine stuff did, and all it's still doing to this day, is they made you look at the machines. We're going to protect you. And then when it happened, they kept you looking at the machines where it's a misdemeanor and cannot be enforced. It is all 100% a con, and it always has been and always will be. People, paper, and programs. We can prove it. And now we're in trouble. Why? Because the system, we have a uniparty. We do not have two parties. They colluded together. It still goes on to this day. And now they're trying to cover up that the Biden stuff was legit because they're about to pull it again. And this is how it works. At the top of my screen, you're going to see this little code pop up. Where is it? Right there. This is where we fight back. Because the physical evidence of what happened that created this screwing nightmare is there and available.
Our courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? for what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies file 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "It's the machines," or "The machines changed the votes," or "The voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win." They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or six-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archives secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County full forensic audit archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.
You're our voice, Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. Goliath couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. You lead by God and always do what's right. In the battle for our nation, you lead the fight. We pray for your safety, the armor of God to protect you from all of us. Here's a thank you for all that you do. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. Jovan, you're a hero we stand behind. We're inspired by the fire inside your eyes. American proud, we know you'll fight till your dying day. And we'll always stand behind you through everything. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior.